Hi everybody, Rochelle here from Quebec CICHLID. Today I'm going to be answering the question, what should you do when your African cichlids breed? I'm not going to be telling you how to breed them because I already have a video on that, but this video is really going to be about what to do when it happens. I will pan out your options and tell you what to do depending on the choices that you make. So stay tuned. Before we get started, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. I have been making fish videos for years and there's plenty more to come. So subscribe to make sure not to miss a single video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rochelle and I own a local fish store in Terrebonne, Quebec. That is right outside of Montreal. If ever you're in the vicinity, make sure to come by during my opening hours. And if not, I ship throughout Canada. So send me a little note. I'll put the link in the video description with your full address, with your postal code, and I'll be able to check out your shipping options. So enough business, back to the subject. So first of all, how to know if your female is actually pregnant. Most aquarists who dabble in African cichlids will keep Lake Malawi cichlids. Lake Malawi cichlids are 100% mouth brooders. This means that they will incubate the fry in their mouth for about a month. During that month, the female, she will not eat. But don't worry, that's normal. Also, keep in mind that if ever you miss one, it's not that bad. These fish will breed throughout their life. In Lake Tanganyika, it's pretty half and half. Some of them are mouth brooders, others are not. Whichever the fish you have, this video is pretty much for you anyways. Alright, so now you know how to identify a pregnant fish, and you've identified yours as no, she is not dying in the bottom of the aquarium and not eating. No, she is just pregnant. So now is the time to ask yourself the question, if you haven't already done it, where you want to take your fish keeping hobby. So here are your options, and depending on the option you choose, I will talk more about them later on in the video. So it can be either you just want your one aquarium and you don't want them to breed, but you don't want to keep the fry, you don't want to grow them, but she's pregnant anyways. That's option one. There's also the option of wanting to breed them, but just once or twice to get the hang of it, just to have the experience and to, it's a lot of fun, but you don't want to make it a huge operation. And then there's also the option of wanting to make it a huge operation. And obviously this can be any size. It can be either you want to trade or sell in social media groups with interesting people you've met online, or you want to supply your local fish store with a certain species, or you also might just want to open your own fish store. So let's look at these options one by one and what you have to do in each case. If your goal is just to have that one show tank and it happens that one of the fish bred, let her go in the tank. You don't have to isolate her. Don't do anything specific. She will be okay in the aquarium. Just make sure, she has a decent decoration to hide in. After a month, she will spit out the fish and the strongest will survive. You might have one or two and, you'll grow to love them, give them names, and have a very happy life with these fish. If ever you're doing this and you happen to overpopulate your tank because let's say they always all end up surviving, this is rare, but it can happen. Well, you can usually contact your local fish store, local pet store, and ask if they're willing to help you out. Not all pet stores will offer compensation for these fish, but that's not your point. Your goal anyways is just to clear up room for your original fish. If you want to keep a couple of batches of cichlids, well, you're going to want to equip yourself. First of all, equip yourself with an isolation box. These are found, sometimes they are some that are handmade. With this isolation box, you will isolate the female in it for the time that you need. Also get just another aquarium. I would suggest about a 20-gallon tank. Put a sponge filter in it. During the month that she is pregnant, the female, you will be able to cycle your sponge filter in your main tank. When the time comes to put the babies in the new tank, this filter will be cycled and you'll just fill up the tank with water from your original aquarium, making a big water change. and you'll put the fry in there to grow out. Once the fish have grown out, you can either contact your local fish store, see if they'll take them back. You can either just put them in the kids' room and give them an aquarium to love and care for. You can give them to some friends and contaminate them with a new passion for fish keeping. Or you could sell them online, trade them online. You know, the sky is the limit. If you want a bigger operation and you want to actually sell fish and make some money off of it, whether you're selling them online or at your local fish store. If you're selling them online, I would suggest when your fish start breeding to get a pulse of the market, see if people will be interested in buying your fry when they're a little bit older. That way you're not surprised and you will make some contacts that you can contact back once they're ready. If you're interested in selling to your local fish store, as soon as your fish breed, you can contact them and see if they're interested in purchasing the fish, at what size and what the compensation is as well. So at least when you're doing this, you're not afraid of having too many fish, being overwhelmed or whatever. You're just putting the odds in your favor. So obviously I would suggest equipping yourself a little bit better than the person who just wants one batch or two of fish. In my case, at my local fish store, I breed peacock cichlids. So I have them in my main tank in their breeding aquarium. Once the female is 3 weeks pregnant, I will put her in an isolation box where she will spit out the fry. I leave the fry in there for about 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how small they are. Once they're eating on their own, I put them in a 10-gallon tank, because they're pretty small, and then in a 20-gallon tank. And once they've outgrown that 20-gallon, I have 75-gallon tanks where I grow them to about 2 inches. And usually 2 inches, that's the size that you're going to be able to sell them. In my case, for my peacocks, I want to sell them at 3 inches. So I made a whole video about this. We actually have one of our associates in his basement who grows out the fish from 2 inches to 3 and 3.5 for me. Go check that out. This man has a lot of awesome big aquariums in his basement that are all meant for my fishies. But of course, I'm not saying you need this in your operation. I'm just showing you how far you can go in your fish keeping insanity, because that's pretty much where I am at this moment. If you plan on actually turning a profit from your fish room and turning it into a business, well, that's obviously a story for another day, because you have a lot of things to keep into consideration. When it's just a hobby, you don't count your time, you don't count your resources, you're just having fun, and any little money you get is a plus. But if you actually want to make money, then you have to consider a lot of other things like marketing, resource management, time management, sales, the work-life balance, all of this and more if you want to actually start your own fish keeping business. I'm not saying if you feel like you're an entrepreneur and you want to take on this challenge, I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just saying that it's a little bit harder than just playing in your fish all day. I own a local fish store and I don't spend as much time as I would like just looking at my tanks. And eventually the hobby doesn't become a hobby anymore, it becomes a business. So you sort of lose that, that connection that you used to have, that good feeling that it did, because you're always thinking about the money. So there's that too to keep into consideration. Most aquarists who breed fish are very happy with just meeting a couple people online, not too many because you don't want too many people in your house, and selling at local fish stores. That's usually as far as people will go, and it's very nice. We're still having fun with the hobby. You don't want to get overwhelmed either, because if you burn yourself out breeding your fish, well, you kind of lost the point of fish keeping. I've also seen people start fish rooms and want to make profit and spend so much time in it that it affects their personal life, the times they spend with their kids, with their wife, their husband, and they'd eventually end up not liking it. You want your hobby to strengthen your bond. You want it to be fun, to go out shopping, spend your Sunday roaming in the local fish stores rather than just working and thinking of money all the time. So it's really up to you. I did say this is a subject for another video, and obviously I am talking a lot about it in this one. So enough talk about what you actually want to do with your life and what your priorities are, and get into something a little more fun, how to set up your growing tanks. You find out your female's pregnant and you want to keep the babies because it's fun and you want to see where it goes, have a couple batches and maybe make a little bit of money. So now what? All right, so you have a month. This is good, you have time, don't worry about it. First of all, buy your growing tank. Buy substrate for the growing tank, especially in African cichlids. We need aragonite or crushed coral substrate to raise the pH. So get that, your aquarium, your substrate. After that, you're gonna need a filter. For a filter, I like to use sponge filters in my growing tanks. I don't use the mechanical ones because often they are a little too powerful and they might eat up some of the babies. So I use sponge filters, they are your safest bet. Get your sponge filter as soon as possible and put it in the main tank. You're not gonna be filling up your growing tank yet. You're only gonna do this when you need it. But the filter has to be cycled. A cycling filter means that there is beneficial bacteria that went, well, in the case of the sponge filter, in the foam, and it's living there, and that creates your ecosystem. It makes it possible to sustain life in your aquarium. What better way to cycle a filter than to put it in an already running tank? During that month, your filter will be cycling. When you're ready, you isolate your female. Don't forget your isolation box in the things that you had to buy. Isolate your female, let her spit out the fry. I like to put a little air stone in my isolation box to make sure that the water is circulating well and oxygenating as well. Once you're ready to get the fry in their first aquarium, so take water from the main tank and put it in the new tank. Take your filter, put it in the new tank. It's already cycled, it's ready to sustain life. Grab your fry, plop him in your new tank, et voila! You have your growing tank ready. If you have another batch of fish and you want to keep them in the same aquarium, if they're born close together within a month, the size difference shouldn't be too dangerous and you should be able to put all the fish together. Of course, if your fish in your growing tank are about 1 inch in size and your new ones are just born, you might want to get another grow out aquarium for these fish. What I feed the fry is a mix. When they're very small, I give them flake food because they can't eat anything else. And as soon as they're able to eat it, I give them Northfin Cichlid, the 1 millimeter flakes. Northfin did not sponsor this, I just really enjoy their food. I find it very hearty and it's good to grow your fish out. Ideally, feed your fry twice a day to make them grow out more. Give them weekly water changes of 25 to 30% depending on how you're feeding them. Nitrate, which is pollution in the water, will stunt your fish growth. So make sure that you're under 20 ppm of nitrate. And obviously no ammonia or nitrite. If you have trouble with ammonia or nitrite, well then there's another video completely about how to remove it from your aquarium. Go check it out, I'll put it somewhere up here. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was able to guide you into what you want to do with your fish keeping hobby and your fish breeding. Do you breed fish? If so, to what scale? Tell me about it in the comments section. I love reading your comments. If you like this video, there is plenty more where that came from. Subscribe to my channel and make sure not to miss a single one. If you want more fishy content in between my videos, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a great website where you can shop online and see all the fish I have for sale. I own a local fish store in Terrebonne, Quebec. It's right outside of Montreal, and I'm able to ship throughout most of Canada. If you like this fabulous Cichlid Geek t-shirt, I know it's still the old model. I'm still working on the new ones. Bear with me. And anyways, you can get these on the Teespring store, and every shirt you get encourages me to continue doing what I'm doing, making videos, owning an awesome local fish store, and just, yeah, my life project. So thank you to everyone who encourages me on my Teespring store and in my actual physical store. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.